All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checker TV. We're back on Tuesday nights, had a couple weeks off, and now we're back here with the Area 51 Dark Horse series at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Drivers putting down their qualifying laps as we speak. Race distance tonight will be 100 laps. Drivers, of course, will have their one fast repair available to them. However, there will be no green-white checkered attempts, so lap 100 will be the final lap of the race this evening. And been getting some good info on the fuel mileage. Sounds like the most likely window is in the mid to upper 20s. So it sounds like shouldn't be able to do any real shenanigans or strategy on the default on fuel. However, of course, if a timely or potentially untimely caution comes out, that could completely shake up the running order and the strategy of this race. So, and we know we've got some very, very talented fuel savers in this series. So it's gonna be interesting to see what the strategy is gonna be for those maybe want to be up front in control, those that maybe want to be on cruise control and try to see if they can pull some strategy out of their hat. However, this again is one of these bigger tracks. You can pit here and not get trapped a lap down. So look for some drivers maybe to look at going off sequence, trying to get out of the pack and be able to run some solo laps. So a lot of strategies at tracks like here and at Pocono for trying to go off sequence. So should be a lot of fun. Hope you all are having a wonderful evening. So I don't have the points picture up, but I can tell you right now our points leader is Mr. Craig Forsyth with his 2 wins in the 3 starts thus far. Also has top 10s in all 3 races as well. Behind him is Charles Teed by 17 points. Unfortunately, don't see Charles in the server here, so that's going to help Craig on the point side of things extend that lead out a little further. Teed with 1 win, 2 top 5s, and 3 top 10s as well. So those two really kind of the only 2 that have had top 10s in all 3 races. Another solid start is Jari Brupacher. He has 42 points out of the lead with the 3 starts with 2 top 5s and 2 top 10s as well. He is the only driver along with those top 2 to have 2 top 5s in these first 3 races. So a few other drivers looking to maybe try to get some luck turned around. So I'll be watching Dan Morera will be especially one I think that I'll be trying to capitalize. He's up in the 6th spot in points, however, has not had a top 5 yet. So I think he'll be eyeing for that this evening. And then in front of him, though, we got to mention as well, 4th and 5th, Matt Wagner, Chris Stouffer, 4th and 5th in points ahead of Dan Morera and Adriano for Porty, apologies. A great run in the last race. He jumped 9 spots into the 7th position. So let's see, I'm trying to spy. I don't know if I see Adriano here, unfortunately, this evening as well. I do see Edson Santos in the 20. He is here this evening, so it's good to see him. And I think we have just under 20 cars here this evening. So like I said, qualifying just about completed here, though. Strategy, I think, tonight will be the name of the game. Will it be, again, maybe trying to stay in the draft, save some fuel, go aggressive, and try to keep that track position? And, of course, there's also going to be that draft, kind of that draft train, if you will, where top 2, maybe top 3 cars, they can probably work on the slingshot passing, like so we call it the slingshot, the leapfrog. I say there's also terminologies. The main thing is these cars do not bump draft, so don't have that option. So what they'll have to do is work on basically kind of just passing each other on pretty much every straightaway, maybe every other straightaway. Obviously the long front stretch, not the short shoots, but we'll have to see what the strategy is for that one. But what I can tell you is qualifying has just completed. So let's go ahead and pull up our starting grid for tonight's event. And it is going to be a Mr. Jim Herrick with the 40 Raceware machine on pole position here tonight. Next to him, another one of his 40 Raceware teammates, Craig Forsyth, in the number 99. And then in third, another 40 Raceware machine. That is Chris Stouffer there in third. Then you got Edson Santos, we just mentioned earlier, fourth. Casey Putski there in fifth. With Nick DeGroot, Matt Wagner, Andrew McMurray, Gary Laverne, Dan Morera rounding out our top 10 here in the first 5 rows. Continuing on, you got Jeff Heisong, William Swenson. Then you got Michael Carrillo, the last to make a qualifying lap. And then drivers opting to start further back in the field, not putting down a qualifying time, include Taylor Reeves, Elmer Joseph, Brad Adams, Jim Brooks, Bill Colley, and Brandon Briggs. All right, so with that, field is starting to grid up here. So let's see if we can get a good shot of our drivers on the grid. And there they are. You can see right there the 40 and the 99. Those are our front row for tonight. They are gridded and ready to roll. Waiting for a few more drivers still to grid. They still got about 30 seconds left before the field will start rolling off. And these were drivers. Listen, they have some time to make a couple quick adjustments to the car again. These are fixed setups. However, you can make a lot of adjustments to the car. Inside the car, things such as your brake bias, your front and rear ARBs, which is the adjustable roll bars, and the weight jacker as well. And of course, the fuel maps. There's a few things you can do in the garage that you can't do on track, which is things in the name of like adjusting how sensitive you want the steering wheel. You can make it a little twitchier, maybe a little heavier, and then also kind of the angle of the wheel to where you want it to be pointing when you're going straight, things like that. So we'll see the strategies. I can tell you William Swenson, he has jumped to pit road. He's going to start from the pits here tonight as the field's going to roll off for their warm-up lap. So, and then also for those maybe not as familiar with these IR18 Indy cars, so these cars have 8 fuel maps available to them. Maps 1 through 5 are the race fuel maps, map 1 being the most rich map, map 5 being the most lean map, which will save the most fuel under racing conditions. Map 6 and map 7 are more of like an S-shaped road course curve. That way it's not a full linear throttle. And then map 8 is a full caution map where you don't make a lot of power in those. So those will be the fuel maps for this evening. Ryan, my pick for tonight. Oh man, you're putting me on the spot because I'm always afraid to be the commentator's curse and give someone bad luck. But I'm going to say if it's not a first-time winner, it's going to be a winner we have not had in a little while. So that's where I'm going to leave it off. I'm going to keep it a little to kind of decipher there. However, pace car's about to make that sharp left off, and that is going to hand it over to our front row. There's our flagman, and we're going to wait for it. Yeah, Matt does do that to us. So you can see field picking up the speed here. Green flag is out. We're down and away 100 laps here tonight at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So you see field making their way into turn number 1. Also tell you the 69 car, William Swenson, he has left pit road, so he's going to build up speed as well. But right now it's going to continue to be Jim Herrick leading lap. When you can see the 40 Raceway cars, they have been able to take over here right off the bat. Craig already tucked up onto that 40 car, but it's going to be Chris Stouffer's going to see if he can get that 2-for-1. Maybe be able to lead lap number 1. We'll see. He passes both entering 3. But again, the draft, though, is huge in these cars. And right now I think we're seeing a little bit of strategy play potentially at hand here with that number 99. However, lap 1 will go to that number 13 of Chris Stouffer. Right now, this is our first closest battle on track. Nick DeGroot. There you see him jump back in line there in front, behind Dan Marrera. As soon as he jumped up, Gary Laverne jumped straight back to the bottom there, trying to cut underneath him. And right behind them, Taylor Reeves trying to react as well. So again, the aero wash, that's going to be the name of the game here tonight. You see Nick, and we're going to hop on board with him just above the roll hoop as he's going to chase down Gary Laverne. You can see right here, I think he's definitely rolling out of it a little bit. Maybe just decided not to make the big push, because this is where that draft train we talked about, this is where this really comes in, where you can get a great run and try to chase somebody down, but then unfortunately what happens is you get there, but then if they stay in that lane where they have all the draft right now, you don't see that big snaking action going on, and that's where you maybe can steal some draft. And Ryan, I mean, I know about, oh, we got one up at the wall there, caution is out, and that is going to be, I believe, oh, it's Casey Pahutsky there in the wall. We'll go back, take a look, but I can tell you though, Ryan, I'm sure Matt would love to have you in here, so we'll see if Casey can maybe get this car rolling again. Looks like the wheels are mostly still attached. That left rear definitely looks separated, but he's going to try to see if he can limp this thing back to pit road, get that faster pair. But we'll take a look here because Casey was towards the front here when this all occurred, and he's got Matt Wagner to his inside. Hopefully not a netcode situation. Yeah, it looked like two drivers going for the same real estate, unfortunately. No, I wouldn't really put fault on either. Just kind of looked like either maybe Casey expected Matt to turn in sooner, maybe Matt expected Casey to stay higher. Again, these guys are going 220 plus. There's not a lot of room for error with these, and that entry is not an easy one as it would look on the broadcast. So it's unfortunate for Casey. I can tell you he has got the car pointing in the right direction. He's going to try as hard as he can to limp this thing forward. Almost would have been worthwhile just to hit pit road that first time, take the end of the longest line, but he's going to run one more time around. But yeah, we're going to put that one on Matt. If you want to, I can even pull him in for an interview and ask him how he feels about crashing somebody as he's going to lock it down here. He's going to be able to get back going. But say that car is just on edge right now with that damage. But I can tell you pit stops are open here, and we got a mixed bag here. The top five actually up front stay out. Craig Forsyth, the first to hit pit road, and then a few further back, including Jim Brooks, is going to stay out along with Brendan Briggs and Bill Colley. And I am not surprised to see Craig in here. And it looks like also you see that car never lifted up in the air, fuel only for that number 99. And looking further back, it looks like it's the same call for Andrew McMurray, same for Nick DeGroot. I think the first car that maybe took tires could be Dan Marrero here in the 26, but looks like everybody else went ahead and just took fuel only. I can tell you Casey is still just diligently trying to get this thing back to pit road. He's got enough gap on the leaders that he won't get trapped a lap down, so that's great for him here. But yeah, again, it's definitely a bit of a... It was definitely a chore for him to get through, but he looks like he's going to get it done. So good job by Casey to make this thing back to pit road, but now he's going to run the next over 90 laps without a fast pair in his pocket. So we'll do long cautions here. We'll step away. We'll show off our wonderful sponsor, 4D Racewear, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
4D Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 4D racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 4dracewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
Lights are off of that pace car, and so now we will see Field's going to come back to green here to start lap number 7 in just a moment. And so again, we talked about strategy wise, our first car with fuel is going to be the 8th of Craig Forsyth, the 8th position of Craig Forsyth, and then 7th on up did not pit there. So again, we talked about fuel mileage. I was hearing in the mid to upper 20s. Can this maybe be a window now for Craig if we go green to the end for Craig to maybe try to pull some strategy here? We'll have to wait and see. All right, we got an Edson Santos prediction for tonight. Appreciate that, Mr. Muff. As right now, Field's coming back to turn 3 to get things back underway. And so, of course, now the big difference in this race, this restart, that 13 car Christopher, he is our control car. So basically, he can choose to go whenever he chooses once the pace car is off of that racing surface. And then, of course, also single file restart. So this is where, again, you get a little nervous about that potential of drivers maybe having that accordion effect. So we'll watch here. You're going to see the pace car duck off. There it goes. We're going to shoot here once more back to the flagman. And we'll start to see them build up speed as we come back to green to start lap number 7. And then we look in the back, hope to see no accordion effects, and so far looks to be so good. And everybody's back to speed here. Looks like a clean start for the field. So Taylor Reeves able to jump around Nick DeGroot, grab a spot on him on that restart. Right now, that's one of the few passes. It looks like a couple further back here. Michael Creo working on some spots there. Dan Marrero. Michael Creo, Jeff Heisong, I apologize, working with each other here, trying to get some spots. Also, a little further up there, Jim Brooks has got his hands full with the 63 Brandon Briggs. And again, now, though, they start to build that draft train. As you see up front, though, Christopher, Jim Herrick, I think this is where we're going to start to see that leapfrog drafting we talked about. We saw Chris take the lead entering turn 1. You'll see Jim here. He's going to get a good run out of turn 2. And then they'll swap one more time if the momentum was there. Oh, Brandon Briggs, you saw there in the background, caught the wall pretty heavily off of turn 2. And I did hear drivers talk about that could be the trouble spot tonight. Looking at the radar, they were saying it's about not a big one, 4-mile-an-hour wind, though. And it's pointed right on the exit of turn 2. So that basically that wind is going to push the car further out towards the exit. And right now, though, that 63 car is going to start to get very tight, way more so than he was already. So he's going to have to try to limp that thing as best he can. But we'll go back up front here, keep an eye on the leaders. And again, we'll try to watch this time to see now the 40 is ahead of that 13. And you see right there, the 13 is going to run a lot higher there through 2. Pick up the big draft here, and he's going to slingshot once again back by here, entering turn number 3. And that's the way these cars are able to make the most speed here. And so we'll watch here as you see there goes 13 back by the 40. 40 is going to pick up speed again. You'll see him probably drift up a little bit, try to get that fresh air on the front wing. And then I believe we'll see the same thing happen here down the front stretch as Christopher now is going to see the 40 car get closer and closer. Nope, 40's going to roll out of it. So actually Jim Herrick going to stay in tow here. And here's that damage we talked about for the 63. He's starting to fall back a little further now into the clutches of Dan Marrero. Dan hasn't gotten by yet, but again, that 63 is just only going to get tighter and tighter, unfortunately. So we'll definitely keep an eye on his progress. But again, right now, Brandon's done a pretty good job just holding on to what he's got for the moment. A little further up here, so you're talking about Edson Santos. He's in a bit of a tight spot right now, too. He's in that 3rd spot, which is hard to make the pass to get up to 2nd or 1st. However, it's a wonderful spot to try to save fuel in, because now you can just kind of tag onto the back of those two. They start passing each other. You just stay in their draft. However, it's also one of the most dirty air spots on the track as well. So Edson has to be very, very just decisive where he puts his car. And we'll actually hop on board with him here in that number 20. And we'll try to watch to see where he positions his car in relation to the others. And you can see there he's going to run about maybe just over half, maybe just about half a groove up compared to the guys. And now you can see the one was up a little higher. He dropped a little lower, just trying to keep that car in a slightly more comfortable position. Matt Wagner got real tight there out of turn 2. We talked about that. Looks like right now it might be the trouble turn. I can tell you Dan Marrero has gotten around Brandon Briggs. Taylor Reeves is starting to creep up on Andrew McMurray. However, Nick DeGroot doing the same to him. So Nick's trying to gain some more positions as well. And again, right now the first car that did pit under that yellow is that 99, that blue car in the background, Craig Forsyth. So again, it's not a big difference, but it's maybe about 4 laps difference or so on fuel. We'll see if that comes into play, but we'll jump back here because now you got Michael Creo, Jeff Heisong. They're going back after each other. You saw right there, Jeff got a good run, jumped low, but then he lost all the drafts and the momentum went right back to Michael Creo, and that helps Michael stay ahead of him. And that's that draft train we just talked about a little earlier. That's what makes this track so hard to pass when everybody's within reaching, touching distance of each other. However, right now you can see the gap between the 26 all the way back here to the 63. it's starting to become out of draft window for the 63s. See there, Michael Creel very, very tight there out of 4. And so that's going to make Brandon a lot more susceptible to a pass. And yeah, there goes Michael. He's going to duck to the inside, grab that spot. It looks like should have the clean air, because right now they're almost 2 seconds off of Dan Marrera in front. And that's going to give these cars a lot of downforce on the front wing. But right now it's going to continue to be a drag race here down the backstretch. Looks like it will stick with Michael Creel. He's going to grab that 12th spot, but now he's going to have to do some work here to try to find a way to get back to Dan Marrera, because right now it's 2.3 seconds, so there is no draft. And now Michael's going to be the one that's going to be subject to that attack. And yeah, there you go. So now if they can coordinate this, if they can work together to do this, they can gain time back, but they got to make sure they work well together. And right here, going side by side, that's going to cost both of them time, and they're just going to lose more and more time to Dan, unfortunately. So they'll have to try to get sorted out and figure out, okay, who's going to do what, get on the same page. But right now, it's not going the way they want to. And while they've been doing that, that gap I talked about, that was about 2 seconds. It's grown to nearly 3 seconds now for that number 26 car, ahead of that 29 and the 63, who, again, continue to run side by side here. A little further up, though, these guys are getting pretty tight here. Matt is in a sandwich right now between the 20 and the 32. Right now, these are, other than that second pack, trying to get themselves sorted back out. This is one of the closest battles. And you saw there a big bobble there. I think Jim Brooks may have had a moment. And he's going to actually, looks like, I think Craig Forsyth must have got checked up and all that, because Andrew McMurray is actually able to get by the two of them in one shot. Taylor Reeves tried to follow through, couldn't quite do it. But yeah, that definitely seemed like there was something that happened. I saw Craig make a big jump there. I'm wondering if the 51 maybe got tight out of turn number 2. But now again, once more, they got to now resettle and get back after it here. You'll see Jim's going to go back around Andrew. And now this is again where they have to try to do that leapfrog draft. So I'm going to try to see if I can jump back and maybe catch a view of it here. We'll focus on the 51. And I don't see it yet. Let's go back a little further. Oh, well, that's going to do it right here. Watch the 51. Well, it helps if I don't go fast forward there. Apologies, everybody. Rookie streamer here. That car, you don't get that loose in an Indy car and not crash very frequently. So really, really good save by the 51. Craig did an amazing job to get just woed up not to run him over there. And so now, like I said, now they're going to have to try to work together to try to get back up to the front. Lap time-wise, though, it's not gone the right way. They're about 3 seconds off the lead pack right now, which is Gary Laverne right now, the last of those. So right now you got a 5-car breakaway here, being now led by this 6-car train, and then another about 3 seconds back to the rest of the pack in this group here. So right now, basically split up in three almost equal groups at the moment. It seems like up front, Chris Stover's kind of taken over just the leading lap duties. Again, fuel mileage in the mid to upper 20s, and with that early caution, that could probably stretch it to the more towards the upper 20s, maybe even the 30s for those that did not pit. However, unfortunately, with that bobble by the 51, that's now put these guys that did pit all out of the main pack, so they can go a little further, but at the same time, they're a fair bit further off the pack. So now it's going to be a question of, we'll have to watch lap times, but right now it continues to be Christopher. It's about 0.2 quicker, 41.40 to a 41.67 of Jim Brooks, so 2.5 tenths quicker that previous lap. So continuing to watch the lap times here. And yeah, once about on the dot again, about 2.5 tenths of 41.34 to 41.60. So right now, the lap time's not there for the 51 compared to the 13. So something that the 13's got going. I'm not sure if he's got some sort of a setting that he likes or whatever it may be, but his car seems to be a lot more comfortable or able just at least hold a lot more speed. So let's actually hop on board here with Christopher. Let's try to listen and see we'll run a lap here with him. We'll jump over and run a lap with the 51, see what we can compare. As you see right now, Chris is pretty much looks like he's going to stay in 5th gear all the way through the straights. and then you can see just cuts it just underneath the white line there, entering turn 1. Nice calm turn into turn 2. Same thing, just touches lefts underneath that white line, and then now just straight down the backstretch once more. And again, looks like going to stay in 5th gear through here. Again, unfortunately, don't get to see what kind of settings he has, which the competition would love to see, but we don't get to see it. And yeah, so it looks like he's just living in 5th gear all the way around. He's going to tuck it just underneath that white line once more, and then yeah, down the front stretch. So now let's jump back to Jim Brooks. And here's the biggest difference right there. I think this is where we're seeing the lap time difference. You see Jim Brooks right here. He's sitting in 6th gear, running about 500 RPM lower. And that may not sound like a lot, but that might be enough here. And actually touching just under 11,000 there. That might be where the time loss is just those little extra revs, a little bit more power for the 13 car. And that's what's possibly slowing Jim Brooks down compared to Christopher, which was about 2.5 tenths that last time by. So little things it can make a big difference. And I mean, again, I'm still learning these cars as I go, and a lot of times I've noticed that it feels like you're just revving it out too hard in 5th gear, when actually the car, that's where it wants to be. It wants to be at that peak power band. So I think that might be what we're looking at there. Also going to jump back a little bit more. Nick DeGroot, he's actually dropped a little further back here, and I would suspect this is probably by strategy. I'm not sure if he maybe had a moment, but Dan Marrero did get by him there to drop Nick to 11th. However, lap time wise, Michael Carrillo's kind of snuck away from these guys. He's slowly creeping in just a little bit on the rest of the field here. But again, though, we're getting very close to that first pit stop window for our lead pack here. And so again, we can't see it, but I'd be willing to suspect that we'll focus on a Matt Wagner or Gary Laverne. Let's go and look at their cars. I want to see if they might actually be jumping between 5th and 6th gear here. So you see Matt, he's going to stay in 5th through the back. He almost hits red line there. He stays in 5th gear. Let's go to Gary Laverne. Gary's still also sitting in 5th gear. I was curious to see if any of these guys maybe drop it to 6th gear to save a little bit more fuel potentially. But right now everybody seems to be pretty content. Like in this main pack, a lot of there's 6th gear for Gary. Go to Matt. Matt's still staying in 5th. Well, now let's jump to Edson Santos. Does Edson stay 6th? No, he drops to 5th gear as well here through the turns. So it looks like they're kind of bouncing between 5th and 6th gear on the straightaway. The long straightaways go to 6th, and then through the turns drop it down to 5th gear for this main group up front. You see the shift light flash there. Now we'll go to Jim Herrick. Let's see what Jim is doing. He's the first car behind. He's got the cleanest air. And look at this. So Jim is doing what I thought some of the other guys may be doing. And Jim's actually just living in 6th gear right now in that number 40 machine. So Jim, of the guys up front, probably getting, I would say, maybe some of the best fuel mileage because he's getting the nice clean air. He can offset her just a little bit from the 13. And like you see right there, it kind of stays off to the left, or to the right, I should say, makes a big cut down. Although it gets a little loose there as he cut down. I can't tell you Brandon Briggs, though, on pit road, somewhere hiding behind the pit board there. There he is hitting pit road. And I'm going to say this is maybe not a fully scheduled stop, but I think he probably had to run full rich just again due to that damage. So he's going to hit his pit stall. I would suspect probably a faster pair as well. We'll have to wait and see. Now we'll jump back to our leaders here. And again, 63 probably too far off the lead here to be able to get back out onto pit road before getting lapped. So unfortunately, he will drop a lap down for the moment. But again, though, everybody else is going to be coming in shortly. And then lap time wise, once more, it's about 0.3 seconds a lap. And it's one of those things where it seems like that maybe just that difference we talked about 5th gear versus 6th gear. It looks like 5th gear when you're leading, that's what you want to be doing. You don't want to be sitting in 6th because I think it's maybe just bogging that car down a little too much here. However, I think these guys here are more than happy to let Jim do the heavy lifting and just continue to save fuel on him because I think their goal right now is to cut one pit stop out of this race. Here's the first of our leaders, Christopher. He is on pit road. Jim Brooks is right behind with him. If I can get to him quick enough. Big lock up there, hopefully down to pit speed in time. But Chris is going to be the first of our leaders, was the leader of the race, hitting pit road here. So he's going to be the first coming in at lap number 28. Jim along with him there. So now we focus on Jim Herrick, and here goes Edson Santos. Edson's going to try to do that leapfrog here. He's going to jump by entering turn number 3. Jim's going to tuck in. We'll see, do any of these guys have to come in this time around? Could they save just one more lap, or can they go further? And the answer is further. Both drivers, or all 4 drivers, I should say, continuing on here. Let's jump back now to Taylor Reeves leading this pack, and he is going to do the same here. And that snake I was talking about. These guys, they'll kind of come out of the off top of Tune 4, then they'll drift it down a little bit towards the middle of the track, and they'll move right back up again towards the exit. So it's kind of interesting to see how that strategy goes. And what I can tell you is Jim Brooks, he came out of pit road right behind this lead pack here, so he's going to have some drafting help. But again, is now the first car one down, as here he is through turns 3 and 4. You got to jump all the way to the front stretch here for the difference. That's what happens when you pit from the lead versus when you pit a couple of seconds back. So that's what I was talking about for being able to pit without losing a lap. And we also talked about how much fuel the 13 was burning compared to the rest, as well as the 51. They are so far still the only 2 of the drivers that didn't have that contact earlier who are on pit road. I can say the pace has picked up from Taylor Reeves, so 41.34 for him to 41.38 for Edson. Christopher, this will be his first full up-to-speed lap, so we'll see what he's got on full fuel but fresh tires. And it's going to be a 41.21, so quick lap for him. Jim Herrick on pit road in that number 40 machine. He is going to be the 3rd of our leaders to hit pit road here, and again, also just the one, nobody else going with him yet. Which means these guys have been able to save very good fuel here. Edson Santos, Matt Wagner, Gary Laverne. Great fuel mileage out of these 4 drivers. And there's that snake we talk about. You'll see a lot for drivers trying to break the draft during the course of the race, but I think right now, like I said, these guys just trying to move themselves around, figure out where they want to be. Let's jump up front. Does Edson pit? No. Matt Wagner, Gary Laverne, yes, they hit pit road here. So again, great fuel mileage for Edson. He is yet to pit in this race at all, and he's been able to go the furthest of anybody who hadn't pitted so far in this race. So, and he's even gone further than some of the drivers that did pit. So, some great fuel mileage out of him. Here comes Matt Wagner, Gary Laverne. They should come out in and out right together. You also see a little further back there is Michael Creo, and there goes the 6. A little slower for the 32. He rolls out now about a second longer on pit road. But now Edson, he's coming out. Here he comes. He's going to hit pit road. This will be his first schedule stop coming to lap 33. And now we'll see, like I said, these are the guys that want to stretch that fuel mileage. So right now, this is the race of drivers not wanting to lead. So right now, Taylor Reeves is having to do the hard work, basically, because these other guys do not want to be leading this race. But here's the thing. Edson's rolling out of pit road right now. And the leaders... Actually, I'm sorry. Edson's rolling to his pit stall, I should say, right now. So I jumped the gun there a little bit. So we'll be watching Edson comparing to see where he is with the 20 to the number 13 as he starts to leave pit road now. 13 Christopher is right here. He's about to enter turn 1. But I think these 3, actually 4, should come out all together. Stouffer, Wagner, Santos, and Herrick. So we'll wait and see, but we'll go up front. We have one more pitting. That's Dan Morera. He just hit pit road. We still got 4 more trying to go as far as they can here. And now let's go back to those guys that have pitted. And yeah, just like we talked about, the 13, the 6, the 20, and the 40 all locked on together here. However, a 4-lap difference between Chris and Matt. 5 laps difference between Chris and Edson. So Edson, like I said, of those that had not pitted, he has done the best by far on fuel mileage. Here comes Taylor Reeves out of 4. Yep, he's going to duck off. He's going to hit pit road. It's going to hand the lead over to Andrew McMurray. They're going to start lap 35. And again, these are the guys that pitted on lap number 4, so they have a little more fuel in the tank. Like I said, they're trying to cut a pit stop out of it if they can. That was their strategy. Even though they're losing time in that second pack, they said, you know what? Let's just kind of stay with it. Let's see what happens. and that's what they're doing. They're committing to that here. So Andrew's going to lead that previous lap, and now he's going to continue on his way before he makes his next pit stop, which I feel like is going to be soon. I don't think he can go too much further. Also still eyeballing the pit roads. I don't see any pit speeding penalties as of yet, so knock on wood, everybody's done a great job here. Here goes Andrew. He's going to jump in, and not a surprise here. Craig Forsyth, Nick DeGroot, they have been sipping fuel in that 99 and the 89 machines, and they're going to start lap number 36 here. So keep an eye. And yep, I say right on cue, these two are going to hit pit road, DeGroot and Forsyth. Looks like they both get knocked in line. They're just pretty much right on lockstep with each other, which will eventually here hand the lead over to these two right here. Christopher, Matt Wagner are the top two, and it looks like they're working and trying to bump the pace of this race up. We'll watch them now do that, kind of that we talked about, that swap draft. Matt's going to get the run here down out of 4 down the back. He's going to jump low, and they're going to try to basically make this race start to go a lot quicker, try to see if they can pull away from those guys that are fuel saving as they continue now, as Matt's going to lead here, entering turn number 1, waiting for Craig and Nick to exit pit road. There they go. But again, though, you can see the leaders already on the backstretch. They're still building up speed, so right now they're going to be just about a full straightaway behind the leaders, because as they come out of turn 2, leaders are now entering turn 3, so that's the difference of the pace. You see they're going to come out right with Jim Brooks here, Taylor Reeves as well. So right now we've got a bit of a split pack here once more. The top 4 all together, and then Jim Herrick. Actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, top 4 all together from Chris, Matt, Edson, and Jim Herrick. Gary Laverne, unfortunately, is on his own little island in that 32 machine. Then you get to Jim Brooks, Taylor Reeves, Craig Forsyth now, Nick DeGroot there, as well as Dan Marrera. That is the second main pack. And then we continue a little further back here. You've got Jeff Hysong. He's going to lead this train here with Andrew McMurray, Casey Putsky. You got Brad Adams, Elmer Joseph right there as well. And then Michael Creo, Willie Swedson, and Bill Colley. Unfortunately, I believe Brendan Briggs may have retired from the event in the 19 machine. I'm showing him out of the race, unfortunately. But we'll jump back live, or to the leaders here, I should say, as we're about to start lap 39 of the scheduled 100. So what we'll do is, while we have a moment, let's run through the field, look at these wonderful cars and paint schemes of our drivers. And we're going to kick it off with about to be our leader. That's going to be Chris Stover, who started in the 3rd position, is currently up into 1st in that number 13 machine. Right behind him is the number 6 of Matt Wagner right now. Started in 7th up to 5th. I say it's going to be, up to 2nd. Words are hard. And then behind them, Edson Santos. That's one of our picks for tonight in the chat. He is currently in 3rd, started in 4th. Our pole setter right behind them, Jim Herrick, in that 4D Raceware machine. Right now, again, one of those drivers that it did not pit under the first sequence. Then we drop another 5 seconds now back to Gary Laverne. Unfortunately, Gary's kind of rolling solo here. He's kind of just off in his own little pocket, because right now he's in the middle of the backstretch. Leaders entering 3 now. Other guys coming out of turn 2 right now. Then we drop back another 5 seconds back to Jim Brooks, and he's leading the fuel saving train right now. So he pitted lap 27 along with Chris Stover. However, Taylor Reeves pitted at lap 34 here in 7th. Craig Forsyth pitted at lap number 36 in the 99. The 89 and Nick DeGroot also on lap 36. And then Dan Marrera right behind them, pitting on lap number 33. So right now, these are the guys that are going to try to pull off one less fuel pit stop than the rest of the field here if things go to plan. And then we'll jump a little further back here to Jeff Hysong, as he is now jumped around Andrew McMurray. He's up into 11th. And speaking of Andrew, there he is in 12th position there. He went all the way to lap 35, so we'll see if he's going to try to roll it slow, if he's going to try to push more aggressively as well, try to close that gap or not. Then we jump back to Casey Putsky. Unfortunately, we saw him involved in that first incident. Got his fast pair, stayed on lead lap, and he's still sitting in 13th. So not where he was earlier, but has had a good recovery from having to restart shotgun in the field. Behind him, the 76 of Brad Adams in that Texaco Havoline machine. He is in 14th in this pack as well. And then just a couple tenths off is the number 66 of Elmer Joseph in that Sprite machine. Then we get back to Michael Creo in that 29. He is a couple seconds off. Same thing, kind of in his own little bubble at the moment, so he can't really do much on strategy-wise. He's pretty much just got a foot to the floor here. And then right now, the last two on the lead lap are these two right here, the 69 William Swenson, and then the 31 of Bill Cawley, who pitted on lap 33 with one another. So jump back to our leaders. Continues to be these two here, the 6 and the 13, pushing aggressively, trying to keep the pace of this race up. Because right now, what they're looking at is they think, you know what, we know those guys are saving. We know we're going to make an extra stop. Even if it's just a splash of fuel, we got to build all the gap we can right now if we stay green. So let's do everything we can here at the moment. All right, so we'll continue to watch Chris and Matt continue to do that swap draft. So what I'm seeing out of this, though, is the driver that I think this is benefiting the most. I don't think it's enough to make him be able to cut a pit stop out of it, but it's allowing Edson Santos to be able to go the furthest because, again, he's just probably sitting and riding, saving fuel. Jim Herrick probably doing the same in the 40 car, but again, Jim went 2 laps less than Edson. Jim coming in at lap 30, Edson at lap 32. Matt Wagner and Christopher pitting at 31 for Matt, 27 for Christopher. So this will be interesting too, is to see, does at some point Matt maybe say, you know what, I'm just going to pit with Chris and we'll continue to run our leapfrog approach. But like I said, I mean, you look at the timing and scoring right now, they've grown to about a 13.5 second lead over Jim Brooks, over those guys that are trying to save a pit stop. So again, it's definitely not enough yet when you think about the pit in, the pit out time. Yes, the pit stops are quick. They're only about 9 seconds for a full stop. But you think about how fast these guys going 230 plus while you're completely stopped or going about 60 miles an hour, they're going to be gaining a ton of time on you. So there's still a lot of work. This is where these guys are probably pushing pretty much almost as hard as they can to continue to build as much gap as they possibly can on those guys behind them. However, I'm going to do a shameless plug here. Well, first we'll see, though, is if Ryan Decker, if you're still here, sir, let me know, because I think we might be able to show off a certain wife of yours company here while we're under this long green flag run, but I want to make sure you're here to see it first. Right now, like I said, these two are the guys that are really making the most moves. Like I said, everywhere else is pretty settled in here. These guys, like I said, this group here, they're just going to be content to ride and save off the back of Jim Brooks. And then I think we're seeing similar here where these guys are just kind of letting Andrew here be the one to pull them along. So like I said, these second and third packs here, not a lot of strategy here. Christopher, like I mentioned, he is one that's doing that. And there's Ryan. So what we're going to do is, while we have this long green flag run, let's show off his wonderful wife's company with Sensi as we go side by side.
At Sensi, we love fragrance, how it makes us feel, how it connects us to our deepest memories, how sharing those memories connects us with each other.
And as it turns out, there's a lot of people who feel the same way and share Sensi's core values of simplicity, authenticity, and generosity. Our beautiful campus in Meridian, Idaho welcomes employees, consultants, and the community year-round.
That's why we've grown from selling just warmers and wax to selling a complete line of products, so you can fill your life with fragrance no matter where your day takes you.
Whether it's fun partnerships with beloved brands, innovative, high-performing cleaning products, laundry care that smells as good as it works, or personal care products to create your signature scent, Sensi products are made to share.
Maybe that's why our culture has always felt like family. We call it Sensi Spirit, It's a feeling of love, acceptance, generosity, and community that we share freely with everyone we meet. And we welcome you to experience it yourself. Like it? Buy the product. Love it? Host a get-together with your friends. Want more? Start your own Scentsy business. You can earn amazing trips around the world and rewards. You can work your business whenever and wherever you want, giving you more time for the things and people that matter most. Ask your Scentsy consultant for more info.
All right, while we were away there, we saw the number 69 there get around Michael Carrillo. And then Bill Colley, we saw try to follow along there, but then he got some very bad arrow wash, and he saw right there also Edson Santos tight out of turn number 2. I can tell you the wind has not really changed. Well, actually, no, it's picked up a little bit. It's about 5-6 miles an hour now out of turn number 2, and that's going to make this part right here very treacherous for these guys. It's just going to try to push them basically out towards the wall there, because that wind is basically pushing right up against the side of those cars. And so we'll see if we, I also got to give a big shout out to our Whiplash Sim Cams. They've got some great camera angles for me and almost too many for me to play with here. So we're going to look for a turn 2 exit camera here, which is going to be these guys right here as they come out of turn number 2. I say you can't quite see where the wall is, but I can tell you though it comes out there very quickly. So this is where these guys are going to start to struggle, where these cars are going to want to push out of turn 2. Can tell you just crossed the halfway point of this race. So again, based on the strategy here, these guys will have to pit 2 more times still to make it to the end. The Craig Forsyth and Nick DeGroot, Taylor Reeves and company, they're trying to see if they can make it on 1 more pit stop after this one. So I think that's what we're going to see is these guys, the next group that pits, are going to try to take it as far as they can. So yeah, it's going to be intriguing to see what the fuel mileage is going to be. But what I have noticed though is Matt's had a harder time now as the tires have started to wear off here. He hasn't been able to catch back up like he has earlier to Christopher, or maybe he's trying to back the pace down and save a little bit of fuel. But I think these tires are starting to wear out of our top 2. And we're going to go back to spying on our drivers. We know that this guy right here, yeah, he's going to be living in the 5th gear here. He's going to go all the way through. We saw some drivers kind of bounce between 5th and 6th, so we'll take a look at Matt Wagner. He's still staying in 5th. Jim Brooks actually on pit road as we speak at 48 to go, lap number 53. So again, for Jim here, he's going to basically have to go 1 more stop after this one. And so like I said, that's where the Craig and company, they're going to try to go as far as they can. So I'll keep an eye on the 51. It looks like he's overshot his pit stall a little bit, potentially. Yep, he's definitely overshot. He's got to back it up even more. That's going to hurt. And that's also going to be interesting. Actually, here comes Christopher. He is going to be in pit road as well. He's somewhere hiding behind that sign. There he is. But what that's going to do is that's actually going to be a bad thing for Craig Forsyth and company, because they were using Jim as their drafting machine. They were saving fuel off of him, so now they've got him gone. That's now making Taylor Reeves be the one. Oh, as he catches wall just a little bit on entry. But now one of them is going to have to be, for lack of a better word, the sacrificial lamb for these guys. However, what could come out as a benefit is Jim Brooks rolling out of pit road right in front of him. And I think all these guys might drop. Nope, Taylor's going to go. But I say these guys might drop the anchor. Let Jim go ahead and stay in front of them. That way they can once again here just save fuel as long as they possibly can here. So we'll have to keep an eye and see. And Christopher, he's already out back on track. And he is going to roll out just a little bit further back than he would like to off of Bill Colley. He was probably hoping to be able to grab his draft to go a little bit quicker. But unfortunately, he won't be able to tag back on. So that said, though, based on the pit stop lap timing, Matt Wagner in the 6th car probably not too far away from pit road. Same thing for Jim Herrick. Jim probably here in very shortly as well. But I think, again, Edson's going to be the one that can go the furthest. And, yep, here comes Matt. He's going to hit pit road. And so Jim Herrick right now, he's been able to save the most fuel this previous run. So Edson taking over the lead here with 45 to go. And so you can see how big this train has gotten as well. Because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think they've added a few cars to this pack now as well. So we'll have to kind of see from where everybody starts to situate themselves. But I want to say that the Jeff Heisong, Casey Putsky and company, I want to say they caught back up to this group. So good job by them. Let's jump to Matt Wagner because he is leaving pit road now. And what he is looking for is that 13 car, Christopher. Here comes Chris out of turn number 2. And it looks like Matt's actually going to, I'd say, net jump in the pits here. He's going to cycle out ahead of Chris. But again, Matt's going to need to build some tire temps up a little bit. So his car might be a little tight to build up here. You see Christopher, that car very tight there in turn 3. Able to gather back up. You can see he really had to roll out of it there. And now he's going to start to build speed back up here. You see Bill Colley, he's just going to let these guys go on by, it looks like. Again, just showing the camaraderie of that number 31. He's going to let Bat by. Looks like Christopher will not be able to follow through, but you see Chris here is going to run really high there. Bill Colley gets tight there in the dirty air. And now Chris is going to try to run the outside. Oh, he's got to cut underneath it. Bill Colley's, he's going to catch the wall there out of turn 2. Big hit to the inside wall. Right now, that car stays pointed in the right direction. We may stay green here. He's starting to slide towards the track. He's going to take a tow. No caution now from that. Let's go back, though. We'll take a look at that because that was a very, very close call here. Actually, we got to go to the right one here. And so this is, you see Bill here. He's behind Matt. He's got so much dirty air. And then that car's just going to arrow wash straight up into the outside wall. Unfortunately, nothing he can do. And then right here, he bounces off a little bit of net coat. I think Chris probably gets away with it okay, luckily for him. But unfortunately for Bill, that car at that point, he's just a passenger. So unfortunately, he bounces to the inside wall and takes a tow. Again, I appreciate again, the respect and letting this race play out. That's what a lot of those guys that are saving fuel really wanted to see. I can tell you that Matt Wagner, Christopher, they have gotten back to one another here. So they're starting to work on building those lap times right back up. Jim Herrick has just hit pit road in that 40 machine. So he's now coming in for his second to last stop. As Edson Santos, though, again, continues to go a little further, but I don't think we'll be far enough to make it to the end here. So then the group is these guys here. These are the guys that are trying to save the fuel. Again, right now, Taylor Reeves, he's kind of become the sacrificial lamb. He pitted a lap 34, but he's been leading all these laps. So he is basically just eating fuel mileage right now, leading this group. Whereas Craig Forsyth, Nick DeGroot, they've been able to basically keep their fuel map down now that they have Jim in front of them again. Once Taylor pits, they'll be able to use the tow off of that 51 once more to continue to save some fuel. All right, so we're saying magic number lap 65 is what Ryan Decker is saying, where they think to be able to make it. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see where it all pans out. Right now we got right here a good little battle with Casey Putsky and Jeff Heisong. They are right together. Talked about Matt Wagner, Christopher. They continue to do the swap draft to try to keep their pace up. Jim Herrick is just tagged onto the back of them. I can tell you Edson Santos is on pit road as we speak in the 20. Again, this is coming to pit road, coming to 39 to go. So, again, fuel window not there to be able to do so. I can tell you again, it was lap 36 for Craig Forsyth. We're at lap 62 right now. So, that's going to be the other question. Here comes Taylor Reeves like we expected. Casey Putsky, Jeff Heisong in. That's going to now put Craig Forsyth to the front in that number 99 machine. And again, this car right here, the 99, the 89, they should be able to go the furthest of anybody in this pack here because they've just been saving. And Craig is just going to stay locked onto that rear wing of Jim Brooks. And he knows at this point they're not going to put any pressure on him because they just need to save every ounce of fuel they can. And for Jim, right now with his situation, he's okay with it because right now this puts him at the tail end of the lead lap. So if there's a caution, he gets to come all the way back around and come back to lead. You see peeling off there, Andrew McMurray coming in at 39 to go. And again, like I said, lap 36 was the last time those guys pitted. We're at 63 right now. So this will give us hopefully a good idea about the fuel mileage. And then looking at lap times, though, once more, Matt Wagner, Christopher, 41:08:06s. Looking to find Edson Santos. He's merged back with those guys as well. Let's go take a look at him. There he is. He's found those guys as well. So right now, these are the 4 cars that do need to make one more pit stop. That are the ones that will be battling for potentially for the win of this race should we go green. Or will it be these guys right here, the 99, the 89, the 26, being able to maybe try it on their end to try to go for the win of this race with the fuel save strategy. There's 2 completely different opinions right now of where they want to be. And I say Ryan Decker, he said lap 65, apologies, 35 to go. That's his magic number. I want to go a little further, if I honestly. Again, I was being told full rich, these guys can go to about mid, or I would say it was mid to upper 20s. So to me, that says 30 is a very realistic save. Upper 30s is a very aggressive save. Here comes Dan Marrera. He's going to be coming to 36 to go. Again, I think that's still outside the window. I think low 30s is really where we probably these guys want to be able to get to. So it's interesting right now. And again, these cars are not handling well. We saw Craig get very, very tight there out of turn number 1. A little better there out of turn 2. Still watching up front. Chris and Matt continue to do the swap draft to try to build the pace back up in this race. And right now, again, they're still running about a half a second a lap quicker than Nick and Craig. So it's really interesting. Like, I really don't know what it's going to look like. And then the next question is for Craig and Nick, when they do pit, they're going to have to hope that they have somebody to draft off of. Someone's going to have to be, again, kind of be their scapegoat, that they can kind of just do that sacrificial lamb and follow. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. And yeah, we've definitely been there, done that myself. I love going off strategy in these races. That's kind of where I felt like I had my best chance to do well. You see Craig Forsyth, he's gonna get passed here by Taylor Reeves, I believe it is. Taylor, again, he wants to make sure he's on the tail end of the lead lap just in case, and he's gonna do so. And now these guys coming around to lap number 67, they continue to stay out. And every lap here, Ryan, it's looking better and better for Craig and for Nick. And for Craig, like I said, I feel like this is his bread and butter. For Nick, I feel like this is probably pulling teeth for Nick right now, because he is not one of those guys that likes to race slow. He wants to basically foot to the floor and just try to beat everybody heads up. I feel like this isn't his typical style of racing that he would prefer to do. I think he's probably still great at it, but I think this is not his preferred approach to do these. So, and not to say that's what Craig wants either, but I know Craig is a very, very talented fuel saver in that 99 machine. So, and here look at this. Nick's done a better job. Craig's going to hit pit road coming to lap number 30, coming to 33 to go. Coming to 34 to go, I apologize. Nick, though, is going to go an extra lap over Craig. So, the fuel saver has been outsaved potentially by this number 89 car. So Nick has maybe got a little bit something up his sleeve now as well. And that's going to give Nick one extra lap of fuel over Craig. And that's going to either allow him to turn the wick up sooner or just be able to have a much better chance of making it to the end should we go green. And yeah, okay, here comes Nick. He's going to be the final driver of our leaders to pit. This will complete the sequence here. But as we watch Nick here, he's not even got to his pit stall yet. And look at this. Here comes Christopher Matt Wagner. They jump right back to the lead. So, and this is the next part I talked about. We got to see now what the intervals are going to be after all this is said and done, because they are losing a lot of time just saving fuel. And I honestly think right now, I'm going to say advantage goes to Matt Wagner, Chris Stouffer, Jim Herrick, Edson Santos, because here they are. I'm looking for a Craig Forsyth. He's right here. He is not that far ahead of them. So, well, I lied. He's a little further ahead than I thought he was. I was looking at a different group of cars. But so here's Craig. He's gone through looking for Nick DeGroot. Look at this pit exit by Nick. However, again, is he close enough to Andrew McMurray to continue to save fuel here? Because he's broken away from Craig by a fair amount here. He can actually just try to tag onto the back of Andrew McMurray here and just save. So a very good in and out lap for Nick DeGroot there. Has done a great job. And I think looking at lap time wise was 40, or sorry, it's a 105. So he's still building up speed. Apologies. But yeah, this is intriguing right now. It's pretty much about a half a lap distance right now between these guys. However, this group here, again, they don't have to take a full run of fuel anymore. They can short pit a little bit, maybe look at splash of fuel, maybe look at just enough fuel to the end plus tires. They can short pit once they're in their window. There's a lot of options for these two here to be able to try to have a chance for this one too. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see. I can tell you Nick has gotten within a half a second now of Andrew McMurray. But yeah, like I said, though, they're racing their fuel mileage. They're not racing the competition right now. So Nick, again, his benefit is he gained a lap over Craig in the pits. He went a lap further. However, has Craig been able to save more after merging in with this pack of cars here versus Nick only having that one car in front of him? There's a lot of strategy at play in this one. And again, so it was lap 68 for Nick DeGroot, 67 for Craig Forsyth. It was lap 61 for Edson Santos. So again, not far enough, but Edson probably can take the least amount of fuel than anybody. And looking where Edson is, they're about to pick up a lot of draft here from these cars in front, which is going to give them a lot of dirty air here. This is where Chris and Matt are going to have to adjust a little bit. They're going to now have to slow up a little more. You can see already there how much he had to roll out of it in turn one because he just got all that aero wash from those three cars in front of him. And again here, just that car wanting to push up. So, and now here he goes. He's going to steal all the draft he can from those cars in front to be able to try to see how much he can gain here. And I think that is Casey Pahutsky, William Swenson, and Michael Carrillo, if I'm not mistaken, who are right now at the tail end of the lead lap. And so right now, like I said, he's just going to do everything in his power here to catch them as quick as he can and then try to pass them as quick as he can because he does not want to lose any time. And right now it was a 41.06 for Chris, waiting to see the next group of cars that are kind of in fuel save mode. I want to say they're probably going to, again, just again, the respect being given there. William Sensen, he's just going to roll out, let the leaders on by, and then re-merge with them. So again, really just love to see that. Love the respect being given from all these guys. And so he's going to kind of just slot in behind them right now. The first car one down as we run. But again, there's still two more cars for them to try to get around. But I don't know, Ryan. I'm kind of, we're at 27 to go here, 26 at the line. I almost wonder if it's worth, I feel like the pace has actually slowed down a little bit because now you're in the sturdy air of these cars in front of you. If you know you can safely make it to the end here full rich, I kind of consider short pitting here because in a perfect world here, you actually come out by yourself, I think, and be able to just run fuel map one and just go full send. So I'm curious to see here. As you can see, contact for the one up on the outside wall there. That's Michael Carrillo, caught the wall. He's going to hold up against the wall. He should be able to pull it down here out of 4. And looks like it's going to be no harm, no foul. He's going to make it to pit road, so we do stay green. But those are those little things. If that caution comes out, if you had already hit pit road, you might be in the catbird seat because everybody around you would have to pit afterwards. So right now the leaders continuing to try to stretch it out here, but last time by it was a 41.30 again with them trying to work through this traffic. And now let's see if Chris can get around Casey Pahutsky. He's going to jump to the outside here, entering 3. And he will grab that spot. And now Matt's going to have to try to find a way to keep some clean air on his front nose and be able to get around the two of them as well. And actually, Case is going to roll out of there again. The respect being given, he's going to let these guys go. Looks like these 4 cars all go by potentially. Actually, no, he's going to slot in right behind the 6 there. And so now it's going to make things a little trickier for Jim Herrick, unfortunately, as Jim's going to, he's going to have to roll out of it just to get that car to rotate. So he's going to lose a little bit of ground here for the moment. We'll see if Casey, he's going to drop low once more. Jim's going to steal all the draft he can, then jump back to the top, pick up some more draft from Matt and company. And then you also see Edson's going to try to follow through around the outside, and he will do so. So right now, pit window, in my mind, is open. They can make it to the end from here. I think now the question is, when do you do it? Again, they've lost a little bit of time over this cycle here. And also the lap times. Nick DeGroot ran a 42.70. He is just, I think the car he was following, I think they pitted, if I'm not mistaken. And he just, or actually I think Andrew McMurray, his pace was just too fast for Nick. And he just threw the anchor. He said, I'm going way too fast. I'm burning way too much fuel. I got to drop back to these guys. I got to save fuel. What I'm doing right now is not going to work. So I think we saw Nick there decide going slower is his better chance of going fast. So, and I'm in the same boat as you, Ryan. I think I short pit and try to see if you can get ahead of these guys through that. So what I can tell you, though, is now that they've cleared the traffic, the pace picked back up. Matt Wagner ran a 41 flat the previous lap, this time by 41.17. So they are starting to pick up a little bit more pace here once more compared to the other guys that have not pitted. So pretty much lap after lap, it's roughly about a half a second or about 2-3 tenths to about a half a second. It seems to be every time that they gain. And again, you look at the ticker on the left right now, they are about 25 to 30 seconds ahead of that pack that are trying desperately to make it to the end. All right, here we go. Here's the first one taker, Christopher. He is going to short pit here. He's going to come in. This, again, should be a shorter stop here. Won't have to take a full load of fuel in that 13 machine. I suspect tires are still worthwhile to take here. But what should happen is he should be able to soar out in front of Matt Wagner. And I think it's going to be in pretty much just completely clean air and just map 5 foot to the floor all the way through here to the finish. So we'll watch him. He's going to hit pit road. Let's see. Yep, car going up. That's tires going on that number 13. And we'll see him drop and head out. Jim Brooks also hitting pit road in the 51. And yeah, so there goes 13. He is going to start to build speed back up. Matt Wagner going to continue on here. And I also see Edson Santos. He's going to react as well. He's going to jump in. Did not bring Matt in. I thought it would. Edson's the one to respond. And again, Edson needed less fuel than some of those other guys. Looking at pit stop time for Christopher is 8.9 seconds for him. Stationary. I'm waiting to see now. Let's see how quick or how long Edson's is in relation. Also tires going on. I feel like this one should be more towards a 7-second window. 8.37. So he was about 0.6 quicker than what the 13 was. Now it's also all about them getting in and out of pit road together. Here he goes. He's building up speed. There's the 13 to his outside. Chris will get around him here, but they'll be able to work together now again to probably work that swap draft to try to go as fast as they can here. So this I think overall this should be a good thing for them. I can tell you Matt Wagner, Jim Herrick, they're both hitting pit road as we speak. Also see rolling out is Andrew McMurray. Again, watching how long pit stops are. 8.15 for Matt Wagner. Jim Herrick, 8.27. They come out together. So now we watch to see where they cycle around in relation to Christopher and Edson Santos. And as they build up speed, here comes Chris. Here comes Edson. And once more, I think they're going to come out right with them. And right now, I'm going to say actually advantage, I'm going to say might be, advantage Matt Wagner. He's going to get ahead of these guys. I think he's going to net the lead of this group, I should say. And now, look at the intervals. Look where Craig Forsyth is. He's only 2 seconds off the lead. However, that's where they are at a 2. There's Nick DeGroot. There's Matt Wagner. This is on here. So these are the guys that are going full aggressive. These were the guys that were going full fuel save, and they're all going to kind of meet in the middle here, come to the last portion of this race. So Craig and Nick, again, I think they're in the best chance to be able to make it to the end of this race. I'm not so sure about the other guys, but again, this Area 51 Dark Horse Series, there are no green-white checkers. If we get a late caution, that's it. There's no extra time. There's no overtime. So if somebody can make it to lap 98 and a caution comes out, they go full fuel save. If they can just sputter across the line, they could still win this race. So here goes the 13. He's going to get by the 6. He's going to take the point back from these two. Again, I think they're going to work in the swap draft, try to make sure that they can get to those guys, because now they got to push the pace of this race to make Craig, to make Nick burn more fuel than they want to burn. However, we've been talking about all of that. Right now, our race leader right here, Jeff Heisong, he pitted at lap 61. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be in the window to make it. But again, though, he's probably able to save a little bit of fuel right now in that number 18 machine. And again, you never know if and when a caution could come out, it could be perfect for him. Right behind him, he has Andrew McMurray. Andrew, again, he has made his final pit stop of the race. That's something where maybe Jeff could let Andrew by and then save off of him. Dan Marrera is second place right here. Actually, no, Jeff's going to go ahead and keep going here. But Dan Marrera, though, he pitted on lap number 64. So he's kind of on the outside looking in right now. So Dan has got an outside chance to make it on fuel. Craig and Nick, I still think, have the best chance. But the problem is I'm watching Nick, and he's just falling into the clutches. Matt's within 1.6, now 1.5 in closing. They have the draft of that number 89 car. So it's going to be interesting here because we got 15 to go. And again, what's going to happen is they're going to catch them, but now they're going to start to get that dirty air. The tires are still relatively fresh, but it's going to get that much more difficult. So it's going to be fun to see what winds up being the winning strategy here potentially as we got 15 to go. All right, here comes Jeff Heisong. He's going to make his final stop of the race. That's going to hand the lead over to Dan Marrera now in that number 26 machine. And now what I think he's going to do here is just sit in line here, save every drop of fuel right now, because at this point there's no real reason to try to make any amazing moves or anything like that. I can tell you Matt Wagner, he is right there. He's found Nick DeGroot. He's going to try to get around him quick. He actually, last time by Matt, ran the fastest lap of the race, a 40.53. compared to the leader's 41.44, almost a full second quicker. And there goes Matt. He's going to take that top 5 away from Nick DeGroot here as we're coming to 13 to go with Dan Marrera coming out of 4. So right now, Taylor Reeves currently sitting in second spot again. I think Taylor also has to pit again. He pitted at 61. I think as well, just trying to sip as much fuel as he can. Then you got Craig Forsythe, who we just talked about, again, pitting at 67. Oh, Edson Santos in the wall. Let me find him. Oh, caution is out. He's taking a tow. Caution is out. Everything's about to change here. Oh, that's a heartbreak for Edson. I wonder if the dirty air may have just done him in. Let's go. We'll take a look, but that's a heartbreaker for Edson here. Let's go back. We'll take a look here. Focus on the 20. You see him up on the outside. Everything looks okay for the moment. I'll watch as he enters turn number 2. You can already see that car starting to step around a little bit there. And I think maybe got loose on entry. They had to catch it, but you can see that car is just washing up, and just hits the outside wall. And the thing is, you just bounce enough off of it, and it just sends you straight to the inside wall. And actually, yeah, you can see, oh my goodness, just hit the wall super hard there. Ricochets all the way back up across the track, and then back to the inside. And then he tries to take a tow as quick as he can, but you see those cars coming right there. That's what throws the yellow out. So let's jump back live here. We're back to our current leader now, Dan Marrera. And so what I expect to see here is the top 4. Well, you know what? I don't know. Does this put anybody in the window to make it to the end? Craig's going to have old tires. This is a hard decision for some of these drivers to make. Craig's looking like he's coming in. He is going to come in. Okay, so pretty much those guys that try to save the field, they've all said, okay, we tried it. Caution comes out, we got to pit. We're going to jump in here. Matt Wagner is going to stay out. He's going to take over the race lead over Christopher and Jim Herrick. I believe Casey Pahutsky might be the wave around. Actually, he's ahead of the leader. It's like Jim Brooks getting the wave around here. So Jim's going to actually get back onto the lead lap there. Casey Pahutsky, though, he is ahead of the leaders. So Casey may still get the wave around the one to go. So maybe put Casey on the lead lap as well, which could put 14 cars back. But what I can tell you, though, is that the top 7 stay out. And then Dan Morera in 8th is the first of those to come out of pit road, fresh tires, just enough fuel to make it to the end. So we're going to have a very aggressive battle here to the end, which will be under 10 to go. So once again, we're going to step away real quick before we get to this restart. We'll be back here and stay tuned. Lights are off of the pace car. Leader is right here. Is this number 6 of Matt Wagner. Right behind him, the 30 of Chris Stover, the 40 of Jim Herrick there in third. Then you got Gary Laverne, Jeff Heisong, Andrew McMurray, Elmer Joseph, Dan Morera. Those are the top 8. Nick DeGroot, Craig Forsyth are top 10. And so right now, I say we're getting back to it here. We're going to restart with 9 to go. And again, at this point, all bets are off. If you're in that top 14, you have a chance to win this race on this restart here. Matt is down and away looking at the back. Looks like a pretty clean restart. Don't see too much any checkups or anything like that. It's like a great clean start here. So now, where do you position your car here? Where do you protect? When do you make the move? Like depending on if and when a caution comes out, could change everything. We've seen how late these moves can be made to try to win these races. All right, here goes Matt. He's going to protect the bottom. Chris Stover, he's going to jump to the outside. Can he clear? Yes, he can. Chris going to take the point in the 13 machine. Matt's going to hold the outside, try to get some clean air on that car. Jim Herrick in the 40 raceware there. He's going to try to tag along. But right here, things are getting very busy a little further back. It's going to be hard to keep an eye on everything. But you can see right now, Chris Stover continues to lead there. Craig Forsyth's going to jump to the inside. Oh, contact Nick DeGroot. One up and over. Oh, my goodness. Nick is big hit there. Unfortunately, he is going to be up on his lid, also involving Taylor Reeves, who flipped into pit road. And that is going to bring the caution back out, unfortunately, for those two. We'll go back. We'll take a look, because this was the battle going on just inside the top 10. And you can see them already side by side here. See if we can get a better look at it here. And you can see they're both kind of drifting a little bit towards each other and just honestly just feels like fighting for the same real estate. Unfortunately, they kind of get hooked together. That launches the 34 up and over the pit wall. And then for Nick DeGroot, though, it throws him right up. Oh my gosh, that's Santos, I think, drove underneath. We'll go back, we'll check that one out. And you see Jim Brooks there, William Swenson, they cut straight to the left to tuck around there. I think Casey Pahutsky gets through on the inside. Then Michael Creed jumps around the outside. But we're going to go one more time here at speed on this one, because we're going to watch this from the point of view of that number 20 of Edson Santos, because I can only imagine what this looks like. And we're going to go roll bar here, so just let's go a long ride for this one. That's, oh man. Yeah, that's a terrifying situation, because there's nothing he can do at that point. You pretty much just got to stay throttled up there. And the thing is, if Edson was not involved in that incident, that's going to put him right back onto the lead lap. And again, mention the timing of the cautions. The timing of that yellow at the time, Christopher now our race leader. And again, there are no green white checkers here, so if we get a caution at 3 to go, 2 to go, that's probably the end of the race. So you don't know when and where you want to be ahead of the field. This is going to be a very, very cat and mouse strategy here. All right, so we're going to double check to see if we had a wave around car or not real quick. Like I said, I thought maybe it was Edson. No, it looks like it's going to be in the 69, so maybe, unfortunately, a little bit, may have been a Phantom 4X or something. But William Svensson, he's going to work his way through the field here, get back to the lead lap. So what we'll do, those while they are back under yellow, let's shout out one more time our wonderful sponsor, 4D Racewear. We'll be right back.
4D Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 4D racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 4dracewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
All right, we're going to see lights turn off of the pace car here. It's going to hand it over to that number 13 of Christopher. And we're going to restart this race with 4 laps to go. So at this point, it's going to have to pretty much, I think, go green to the finish. If there's a very quick yellow, there's a chance that might be a green checkered restart, if you will, where basically they take the white flag on the restart and then go to the checkered. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, unfortunately for Edson, I mean, he had just the craziest part of the race driving underneath that car of Nick DeGroot there, but unfortunately was not able to benefit from the wave round on it. That went to the 14 of William Swenson, who puts himself back in the lead lap. And yeah, the other thing to mention, obviously right now, still the highest climber or highest car of those that pit under the yellow is Dan Morera in 7th. However, one of those drivers that just pitted right before the caution came out, Jeff Heisong, he sits in the 5th position. He's got about 6 to 7 laps fresher tires than our leaders. Don't know if it's going to be enough to make enough difference. The tires have all probably cooled off for leaders, I think, at this point. Everybody's probably in a decent spot tire-wise now. But yeah, this is going to be very intriguing. And again, now it's all about making the right move at the right time. What does Chris do? He knows what he was able to do to get around Matt. He's got to figure out a way to make sure he can do something similar to stay ahead of Matt. So we'll see here. And again, this is where everybody's got to be careful. You're going to get that big accordion here on this restart. Again, the 13 is our control car. So as soon as he wants to, he can drop and go. He can go as early or late as he wants. He is down and away. He's going to break the draft early. And everybody else is going to try to build up speed here as we head back to start finish line. A little bit of shuffling in the back there. It looks like everybody's still pointing in the right direction. So I think we are good to go here as we come back to here, 4 to go. You see 13, he's going to hug the bottom, make Matt go around the outside. Can Matt clear him? No, can't quite clear. We saw 13 clear him earlier. This time he's able to hold just a nose ahead. Oh, I think I saw contact with the 51. Yes, big contact 51 on the outside. Not sure who he got involved with. Oh, that's going to catch the 69 car. Caution is back out to see who was ahead at the time. 51's up and over as well. I saw the contact entering turn 3, and at that point he was just along for the ride. And unfortunately, well, the little extra bounce there is going to get him pointed in the right direction for, I guess that helps. But let's go back and see, because I'll say it was contact with Jim Brooks, and I think it was maybe Casey Pahutsky. Let's go back. We'll take a look. You see, we'll take a better look here, try to find another angle. Here we go. You see the 3, you see the 51. And right now you can see they're both kind of just in their own little areas. Here we'll pick up the speed. And this looks like we're going to see kind of a exact same thing as earlier. Looks like both these cars going for the same real estate here. It's like all's well entering the turn. They actually separate themselves a little bit. Then through the turn, oh, so you see Casey. Jim's trying to run the outside. Casey just gets so much aero wash there. And at that point, just kind of squeezes the 51 up into the outside wall. There's nothing at that point he can do. He's just a passenger there. And then that car is just, you can see, I mean, the right front's completely broken. So that car is just going to limp around here, unfortunately. And then now, just to make matters worse, he's off in the grass. And yeah. And then, unfortunately, if you're this guy right here, you think you're good. And then netcode gets you, and you get looped around there. So William had he just got his lap back. Everything was looking good. Had a chance to try to go back after, get some more points. But then, unfortunately, that's what happened to him. So what we will do is, actually, what I'm going to do real quick, too, is let's go back to the time of the yellow here. What we're going to try to do is we're going to try to focus on one of the caution lights. Let's say this is not my most talented abilities, but we'll see if we can find a spot for it. So we're going to try to do here is right now we're watching off of Gary Laverne. We're looking for some flashing yellow lights here, and we will pause that at the time of as soon as we can see it. Again, it's not perfect science. And actually, you can see the lights already on. Actually, you can look at the dashboards. That's actually the better one there. So we see right here on Gary's, we're still green. And as soon as it flashes yellow right there, that's where the caution's out. And then so where's Christopher Matt Wagner? You can see the contact in the background. Chris clearly still ahead here. And I believe we'll jump back live here. We'll see if the pace car lights are off or on. They are still on. That means, and we're 2 to go, which means this race, unfortunately, will finish under yellow. However, this is going to be while it may not be the way he wants to win this race, this is going to be a very, very happy Christopher, because I believe, remember I made the comment about either a first-time winner or someone that hasn't won in a long time? I believe this will be Area 51 win number 1 for a Mr. Christopher here. And just to confirm, I'm going through his stats. You see the white flag is out. So like I said, unfortunately, this will end under yellow this evening. But yeah, trying to double check here. Wonder if these were... Oh, what it might be is this might be his first broadcast. So I think he's won with Area 51 before, but I think this might be his first broadcasted one. I'm not 100% sure. We'll quiz him on that one once we have a chance to chat with him. However, that said, I'm looking at his results, and he has a lot of second place finishes. And I'm looking at even just 2024 itself, and there are yeah, numerous second place finishes in here. Yeah, 6 second place finishes since the start of the 2024 season. So I'm thinking this is probably more of what maybe it was. I say it does look like he had a couple wins in 2023, but again, I think that was before the whatever dramas were resolved. So right here though is, again, unfortunately not at 200, 230, 220, 230 plus miles an hour. But out of 4, it's going to be this man right here, Christopher, that will take the win tonight at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Again, probably not the way he wants it, but he is not going to complain here as the field starts to head towards there. You see the checker flag waving in the flagman's hand, and it will be Christopher getting the win here tonight over Matt Wagner and Jim Herrick. Gary Lever and Jeff Heisong are top 5. And then unfortunately we mentioned some of those other drivers not having the evenings they were hoping for in the end, but still able to bring it home in the end. But it's going to be this guy right here, Christopher, our race winner this evening. And again, I mean, we got to mention, I think the winning move for Chris is not this restart, but it's the restart before, where Matt was the control car. Chris was able to get to his outside and clear him, and was able to stay in front before the first yellow came out, and then had a great restart, stayed ahead of Matt again on that restart, and was able to grab the win. Same thing, stayed ahead by the time of the caution. So definitely had to work for this one this evening. We're going to let everybody get to pit road here. We will focus on this man here, watch him enjoy his win on the front stretch at the bricks. And I'm going to say, based on these burnouts, I feel like he's maybe won a couple races here or there, because that's pretty much the best circle you can do in these cars. And I feel like that's going to take some practice. So very impressive burnout here by that number 13 of Christopher. So while we watch him tear down, let's hunt down our third place driver here tonight. As I said, and the best part is he is a huge sponsor and a huge supporter of the league, and a lot of the stuff we have right now we would not have without him. So let's go and hunt him down here, and that is going to be this man right here, Mr. Jim Herrick. So we're going to pull Jim on over here, and maybe a little bit indied out, Jim, after the actual 500, after the iRacing 500, but you had a couple week reprieve. Back to it tonight, but started on pole. We're up front most of the time. Then it was a strategy race. Do you stay full aggressive? Do you pit with Craig and Nick and company and then go full save? I'm sure you guys were questioning the right decision there, but then at the end, before the yellows, of course, but you guys cycle through, you get right back up to them. And you're like, okay, this is looking good. We've got the fuel, we've got the tires. I mean, take us through kind of the ups and downs of the strategy before we get those late race restarts.
Yeah, I don't know if I can get burned out on Indy if we keep getting finishes like this. I mean, I had a 6th in the third split in the iRacing 500, and now up on the podium here, Area 51. So pretty happy about that. And strategy-wise, it was going to be tough for the fuel save. We all knew it was going to be hard. Craig was the only one that was really willing to try it, and it in the end, the way the race worked out, it would have worked for him because he could have stayed out and made it on the cautions. But yeah, not knowing that we were going to get all those cautions at the end, he had to pit and dropped him back. And so staying with the draft and staying up front in clean air was key to this race. You get more than drop back to 4th, and that made the car pretty hard to turn any more than 4 5 cars in front of you, and it was going to be pretty hard to pass anyone.
Yeah, and that's what I was noticing. It seemed like obviously the top two you could kind of do that, the swap draft, and keep the pace up. It seemed like to me that maybe the third car in line was still maybe okay to stay in the dirty air. Like they could kind of move around a little bit. You only have the really the one car in front of you, be it high or low, to kind of eat the dirty air on. But yeah, you're right. I feel like in fourth, there's at that point there's no real clean air to get to. So was that kind of what you were feeling too, where maybe you felt like you'd be better if you were in third versus fourth, or was it just it didn't matter if you weren't in those top two spots?
Yeah, definitely third was better versus fourth. With fourth, I felt like maybe I could challenge the third car if I got a good run, and maybe it was easier if we got a little bit separated from one or two. But there at the end, when I was in third and I was right up in there, I felt like I could potentially make a move on both the leaders. I'm not sure if it would have worked out or not, but I could have definitely made a move on the second car and had a shot at the lead. So definitely every little bit of clean air helped today.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like clean air was the way to go, and like I said, it was definitely a balance of aggression versus fuel savings. Like just I don't think anybody knew what would be the choice to make, but in the end, it seemed like the full aggression was the way to go there at the end because you guys were able to fight for it there. But yeah, I mean, like I said, and I know behind the scenes you've been really busy, and again, really obviously definitely want to thank you as well for just all the support you've given to the league, and I mean, I say obviously you've got a great team of drivers as well. So really want to kind of thank you for the partnership with Green White Checker TV with Area 51. It's obviously on my side. It's been a lot of fun too. And again, I know you're still working stuff in the back end, so I can't wait to see kind of some of the stuff you are working on, and then when you get to show it off. But before we get to all that in the future, definitely want to give you the floor here though for any thanks and shouts for that podium tonight.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for doing these broadcasts and for the admins in Area 51 that put the league on. It's a lot of fun to race here, and it's especially fun when I have a good night. I don't I don't have solid podium finishes like this and pole positions. That I don't know if I've ever had a IndyCar pole position before, so real excited about that. And yeah, I just want to thanks to 4D and definitely we're gonna have some new stuff real soon. I made some big breakthroughs this week, so we're getting very close to some big announcements. So thank you guys, and congratulations to Chris and to Matt too.
And I can tell you, this was the first poll for you for Area 51. The previous best was third 3 times. So I say now if you can just get a second spot in qualifying, you'll have the all the top 5 spots covered. So no, great job tonight. Like I said, get in the poll, still getting podium tonight. And it sounds like things going great for the business as well, Jim. So I was saying again, well deserved, well earned. All your hard work. Glad to see it's paying off, man. Definitely looking forward to my end to be able to support you guys as well a little extra. So go enjoy this one. We'll get you back with your team, and we'll chat soon, sir.
Great, thank you very much. You have a great night.
Thanks, sir. You too. All right, we got another fella to talk with. He's a chatty fella. He likes to talk in the booth. Not sure how chatty he was in the car, but Matt, I mean, I know you're watching Craig and Nick and the fuel save strategy. I know you worked hard to try to make sure this wasn't a fuel mileage race, but that first yellow just puts him right on the edge of maybe being able to do it. But then I gotta say, you and Chris, I mean, you guys said, you know what, we're gonna crank the pace of this race up, and let's get aggressive. Let's make them have to work hard to even have a chance to make it by us going as quick as we were. Because I mean, you guys were setting really good laps where it seemed like it's like, okay, let's work together, let's do the swap draft and just basically go as quick as we can, nail your pit stops. At what point did that go out the window and you start getting greedy and say, all right, I gotta try to keep this 13 car behind me?
Well, I started thinking that when lap traffic was coming. Let's see, what was that around lap? I think that was about 80 or so, and the way it was going out, I was actually pulling away from. I I guess, Stouffer there, and I was catching the lap cars draft. I was catching Nick's draft. I passed right by him, and then whoever was next on the list there, it was really working out. And then that caution flew, and everything just fell apart, and I was just not the happiest camper ever. Also close, Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm gonna be that guy. What's better? I mean, obviously, you always want to win any of them here at Indy.
Oh yes,
But
100%.
between the Area 51 Indy or the official 500 Indy, like, is there maybe a level of one feeling? Maybe not. I mean, obviously, at least everyone's big, but I mean, does that? I say because. Spoiler alert: a certain fellow that I'm chatting with here won his Indy 500 split earlier a few weeks back.
I did.
So I mean, does that maybe ease the wounds a little bit, or
It eased the wounds a little bit, but you got to think the level of competition between here
that's true?
and I did over there. I did have one pro driver, but he was saving fuel and he wasn't even a factor. But Chris is a really good racer. To beat him, him and Jeff and all them, Jim Herrick, all them, the experience they have in these cars is saying something to win here in Indy. Being Nick DeGroot, that's a heck of an accomplishment. But he was fuel saving too with Craig. But,
Yeah.
let's say if that caution couldn't come out, I still have to look back at that replay. I didn't know if he turned out to me or I got into him.
Oh yeah, that one well, I say Ryan and I decided we're just gonna blame it on you. But yeah, I honestly I think everybody's going for the same real estate there. But I'm gonna say I don't know. I think the bigger accomplishment tonight goes to Edson Santos for literally driving underneath Nick DeGroot. You'll have to go look at that one as well.
Oh God,
but
that's what happened to him.
Yeah, there was some contact with he and the 3, I want to say, but I don't know how Edson got underneath. It was wild.
I don't know how he got back there in the first place. Speeding?
Oh no, Edson. Unfortunately, he had some contact out of 2 with the dirty air plus the wind. Unfortunately, caught him. But it was. I mean, you guys were putting on. I would say Edson was one to watch as well. Any of the 4 of you were going to put on a good show at the end. It was really cool.
So coming toward the end of the race, just be a little bit. I was worried about Jeff. I was really worried about Jeff. Because me and him were in the same room together, and I told him my settings that I used in traffic, and he told me that car was hooked up, and I was worried if that would have gone green for the rest of the way, I think Jeff probably would have snagged the win from both of us, the top 2 spots rather. But he was going to be quick on newer tires, regardless. But it was a hell of a fight. The better man won. Coming out of 2, actually coming out of 4, I slowed down a little bit because I didn't have my weight checker set properly, and it had tried to draft right past him going into 1, and then the yellow came out, and there you go. There's your race. So it is what it is. So
your car got a little bit of damage there post rate. It appears as well, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I made a friendly visit to the infield care center. We're all good. We're fine.
Well, I'll say, and the other thing I know, not selfishly, I should say, I know you love. I say it's not technically a first time winner, but it's a first time broadcasted winner. So I know Chris has been just dying to get one of those, so he'll be excited for that one too. So
so make sure you name and shame him.
Oh, I will. I say I'm gonna have to give Andrew a hard time because unfortunately, real life kind of unfortunately took away from him here too. But Matt, you did an awesome job tonight, man. Like I said, you and Chris were working the field there, keeping the pace up to make Nick and Craig and them have to kind of sweat it out if they were going to even if they saved the field, could they even make it to the end? So, I mean, you guys did everything right to make him have to fight for it there. So. Hats off to you. Definitely don't hold your head down on this one. That was a really good result, but got to give you the floor. Any thanks and shouts for that one.
All right. I got to thank you guys. I didn't see you had a partner in crime. It was just, I know Andrew Wood. That kind of sucks for you. I miss Andrew. Good commentator with you. You guys are like two peas in a pod here. Shout out to Ryan Decker in your chat. Hey Ryan, thanks for and your wife sponsoring the Super Speedway League. I do appreciate that. It really helps out Gael and them. To Jim Herrick on his first pole, that's good on him, man. That's good to see him do something really well. And congratulations to Chris on the win. Well deserved. Gael, I'm gonna go to bed now. So
All right.
y'all take care. You guys have a good night.
Have a good night, man. Good job, man.
Yep, thanks.
All right, that's one person left to chat with. And I think we got him lined up perfectly. So we'll pull him in. He's getting ready to do some burnouts. That's going to be a Mr. Christopher. And Chris, all it took was to not have Andrew in the booth here tonight. But I say, technically not your first Area 51 win, is your first broadcasted Area 51 win. But man, you had to work for it tonight. I was talking to Matt, you and him. I mean, you guys kept the pace of that race very high. Because I'm guessing, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you knew with what you saw from Craig and from Nick, it's like, okay, I got to keep this pace up. That way they can't save extra fuel. We got to make sure that they burn every ounce that they can to make sure that we kind of, just kind of keep the foot to the flame and make sure that they have as hard of a time as possible to make it to the end there.
Yeah, you got it pretty much right. With getting up front, I mean, my plan was to get up front and see how it played out. We got that early caution, and I knew if we pit from there, it was going to be really close if you wanted to save fuel, but you had to start saving fuel from there. And so my bed was made because I stayed out, and at that point, it was just go as fast as you could, and split the race up accordingly. Um, you know, at first I was upset when to see that caution come out there late in the race with about 10 to go. Um, I figured the new tires were going to be really making their way up through the field, and it worked out. We got another quick caution. I wasn't so happy about restarting in the lead, but it ended up working out, and I was finally able to win one of these. I guess broadcasted. I know I've won here in Area 51 before, but yeah, it's been a long time. Feels like.
Yeah, I was kind of doing some digging to try to figure out. And yeah, you had a couple in 2023, but yeah, that was when the whole drama was going on. And the thing was, I think you've had like 6 second place finishes since we started broadcasting back in 24, and so I can definitely feel where the frustration would be setting in on that to be that close. So. But no, and that's actually the next part I was going to bring up was the strategy there. On those last two restarts. So you start behind Matt on the second to last one. You're able to clear him entering turn 3, get to the bottom, and then stay ahead of him prior to the caution. And then, okay, I was able to get around him. I'm sure you're probably worried he's going to be able to return the favor. I mean, what do you make any adjustments? Like, is there anything that you feel like you can do starting maybe jumping earlier or later to try to kind of change where that momentum kind of materializes? Or I mean, how do you approach that, or like how do you adjust for those things?
Well, all that was going through my head. I was kind of talking about it with the team before that final restart because I had every intention of him passing me on the backstretch, regardless of where how early I went or how late. Um, I was thinking about going real early, as early as I possibly could, and trying to get out a gap that way. And then what I ended up doing was going late, but I wanted to go right before the green flag flew. That way, it kind of hopefully threw him off just a little bit, so I can get that extra little spacing. And then, somehow, I was able. I knew I was going to be able to hold it on the bottom, but somehow he did not get the pass complete on the high side there in 3. So, at that point, we made it to the front stretch. I thought he was going to get another big run on me, and to my luck this time, the yellow came out in my favor, and I was able to come home and win the race. So, like you said, I finished second plenty. It's almost a meme at this point. But I was able to get the win at the biggest race, biggest track. So, can't ask for much more.
Yeah, no, it was a great result, and with that, it jumps you up into second in points now with a tie with that guy that you beat, Matt Wagner. So, but you still got a teammate you got to chase back down there because Craig's trying to sneak away a little bit with his 2 wins in the 4 races so far. But no, but yeah, like you said, I mean, at this point, you've got plenty of racing to go. But we're only a third of the way through, so you can work on worrying about that later on. Enjoy this one for now. But before we let you go and celebrate, definitely want to give you the floor for any thanks and shouts for that win tonight.
Again, shout out to my 4D Racewear teammates and, the 4dracewear.com for sponsoring. Go to 4dracewear.com they got boots and gloves and all kinds of good stuff. So check them out. Shout out to my son, Liam Stouffer, who's sitting here eating Doritos in my ear and making sure I give him a shout out. So there you go, Liam. Also, thank the wife and kids for allowing me to race and, you guys up here in the booth, I appreciate you broadcasting. Andrew wasn't here to witness it, so too bad for him. And hopefully next week we can put on another good show and come up here and talk to you.
Yeah, so make him rewatch the whole broadcast while you wait for him and be like, all right, give me your insight afterwards. But yeah, definitely give Andrew a hard time. I know he was trying. I can tell you he was trying hard to find a way to be able to make it, but unfortunately, the real life duties kind of got in the way, unfortunately. But definitely missed him. But yeah, awesome job tonight, and yeah, tell his kids not to get too comfortable because summer's gonna go quick, and then you got to throw them back into school. So. But no, great job though tonight, Chris. I'll get you back with your team, so go enjoy it. I look forward to chatting with you again here soon, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, that is our winner, Chris Stouffer. Now we'll jump back live because we still got to show our final results of the race. And it will be Chris Stouffer over Matt Wagner and Jim Herrick there, our top 3. And then you got Gary Laverne, Jeff Heisong, our top 5 finishers. And then right behind Dan Murray, Craig Forsyth, Elmer Joseph, Brad Adams, Casey Putsky, our top 10. And then we saw, after the contact in the end, Casey still winds up 10th. Jim, despite going up and over, he still finds a way to finish 11th somehow. Edson Santos there in 12th. Taylor Reeves 13th. And unfortunately, some of the drivers trapped a lap or more down in the end. Andrew McMurray, Michael Carrillo, and then William Swenson 7 down. Nick DeGroot up and over there, wound up in the 17th spot. Bill Colley there in 18th. And then unfortunately, our early retirement was Brandon Briggs there in 19th position, 71 down. But again, yeah, the damage I think hurt his cause a little bit earlier than he was hoping. But so it's again a great, good group of cars tonight. 19 drivers entering tonight, and it's going to be Mr. Christopher getting the win here this evening. And they will be back in 1 week's time, and it will be at Interlagos. So bring out the road course. Going to be turning left and right and in 1 week's time. And so hopefully we can get Edson to grab some of his compatriots and get him back out on track because we missed them. Get Bruno and all Adriano and all those guys back out. Hope to see them on track here again soon. And of course, we'll be back in action on Thursday night for the Super Speedway Xfinity Series there at iRacing Super Speedway, followed by Sunday night with the Super Speedway Truck Series, also at iRacing. And then, like I said, we'll continue the season on from there over the course of the summer. So, as always, appreciate everybody here supporting us here at Green White Checker TV. Muff, Ryan, Quabi, I know you were busy, but I appreciate you popping on for a little bit. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, big thank you to our sponsors, Whiplash SimCams, 4D Racewear, Sensi. We've got so many good ones out there. It's hard to keep up with them. And yeah, thank you all so much for supporting us. And until next time, take care. Have a good night. And we'll see you all on Thursday.